is here at Ohio State University that almost 3 years ago, the largest discovery in human history happened. The Ohio State University Radio Observatory, nicknamed the Big Ear, caught an alien signal on August 15, 1977. This major discovery may almost have been missed, since that day nobody was even supposed to be in the data analysis room. But several volunteers decided to do upgrades that day on the IBM 1130 servers. As it happened, they caught in real time a strong signal coming from the constellation Sagittarius. Immediately, they narrowed down the bandwidth. As it turned out, the narrowband emission was so small that even looking again, it could be missed at a later date. But with the narrow frequency locked in, they discovered that the signal itself was repeating prime numbers, an impossibility if it were natural. They contacted other observatories throughout the nation. Then, in the next few hours, other observatories around the world were given the signal to look over, and the rest, they say, is history. And then came the day when it became official, as President Carter appeared on television from the Oval Office on September 4th, 1977, and announced that we are not alone in the universe.
Our scientists can now confirm that the August 15th signal from space, received on a radio telescope at Ohio State University, was in fact of artificial and extraterrestrial origin.
While many scientists and researchers in the past expected a mass panic worldwide if extraterrestrial intelligence was discovered, instead, this revelation was met with calm but passionate curiosity for most of the population. The press converged on many meetings and conferences. Soon, every university, college, and high-level government body were being asked all manner of questions and what the next steps would be. Even late-night television was not immune. On the latest episode of The Johnny Carson Show, astronomer and now government advisor Carl Sagan discussed the signal and its implications.
So, Carl, what is the next step now that we have proof of aliens out there? What have you advised to the Presidential Commission? And also, how should we respond, if at all?
First off, the region of space this signal came from is 1,800 light years away. The signal is almost 2,000 years old, so sending a signal back would take many lifetimes.
Dr. Sagan continued to discuss with Carson more implications of this discovery, pointing out that even if this alien civilization was on equal ground with Earth technology when the signal was sent, that being 1,800 years ago now means they have an almost 2 millennia start on our own planet. There was even talk about if their civilization was still in existence, perhaps between the signal being sent and now they went extinct by either a natural calamity or by their own hands. But Dr. Sagan feels confident they most likely still exist, and that this means if there is one intelligent alien species in this galaxy besides us, there could be more, a whole lot more. Perhaps the biggest result of this stellar discovery was the push for the approval by Congress and the White House for the building of the solar power satellites. Each of these satellites would be the size of Manhattan Island, and upon start of construction, the program would take 30 years from day one to build 30 of these Titanic satellites, one a year on average. This research was started by the Department of Energy during the OPEC oil crisis. Several aerospace companies, specifically Boeing and Rockwell, have given detailed reports on how these would be built. The reason for speeding and approving this program, which initially was not expected to be approved at all, is because this discovery of intelligent life shows that mankind now has two major reasons to expand into space. First, it shows that other civilizations do exist. Therefore, an interstellar expansion is feasible. But also there is defense reasons. While this civilization is thousands of light years away, it is uncertain if there may be ones even closer to us. Also, we cannot simply assume best of intentions. Looking back on human history, and even in the animal kingdom, one should be cautious and assume the worst, therefore using this space infrastructure as a secondary use for military defense against a potential alien attack must be considered. We recently got a chance to visit the Rockwell Space Division in Downey, California. A site with aerospace history stretching back now almost 50 years, the site has most recently been home to the design of and partial construction of the Space Shuttle Orbiter. But now this site and also research facilities in Huntington Beach will be preparing to draw up plans for the solar power satellites, space stations, and the spacecraft that will need to help construct all of this in Earth orbit. In order to carry the massive amounts of materials needed to build the power satellites and space stations in orbit, Rockwell International will be building the Star Raker. This single-stage to orbit space plane will be 310 feet long and can carry up to 200,000 pounds. Once loaded with cargo, it will take off from a runway and fly into an equatorial plane where it will then do a temporary dive to gain speed. After this brief dive, it will then climb and switch from its ramjets to its rocket engines. Once in equatorial elliptical orbit, it will dock with a space station, unload its cargo, then return to Earth. Overseeing the military infrastructure involvement is newly appointed head of Air Force Space Command Space Engineering Division, Dwayne H. Cassidy, who previously was vice commander of the 63rd Airlift Wing at Norton Air Force Base, California.
The Air Force Space Command now has a critical role in the development of the solar power satellites. While being sources of energy for Earth, we also must consider they need to be used as weapons platforms for potential future interstellar conflict.
On the drawing board are various military spacecraft designs. These next-generation Air Force space vehicles are expected to carry various future weapons currently being considered by DARPA, everything from railguns to plasma rifles to high-energy directed laser turrets. While all these sound at the moment like science fiction, the Pentagon is taking these concepts very seriously, should a worst-case scenario occur where our earthly civilization may be visited by those with ill intentions. Once these vehicles are off the assembly line, they will be primarily stationed at the present 30th Operations Group at Vandenberg Air Force Base, and in the near future, the first logistics space wing based in the El Segundo Air Force Base, currently under construction. In Houston, Johnson Space Center Director Christopher Kraft presented the hope that the solar power satellites would bring to the NASA space program and the new class of astronauts.
Many of us here were not expecting in the days before that infamous August 15th, where we would now look to the stars and know that we received a signal from there and that we are not alone in this universe.
Here we have shuttle astronaut in training Anna Lee Fisher. With the shuttle program now upgraded from a vehicle in orbit to now the largest engineering project in human history, astronauts like Dr. Fisher must now cope with the expanded space program brought on by the discovery of intelligent life thousands of light years away. Like her other fellow astronauts in training, what the space mission was and has now become has been a life-changing experience. Dr. Fisher spoke with us at Houston as she prepares for what can only be the unknown frontier of man's permanent residence in outer space.
I applied for the astronaut program just months before the alien signal was detected, and what was just the shuttle program has turned into training for space construction. It's amazing to imagine this signal changing so much of our lives here on Earth.
And so we now take that next huge step, a step which we may not have taken otherwise. Some see this alien signal as a sign of hope, some as a sign of dread, and yet our brightest engineers, our bold military, and our brave astronauts are all working now on the largest human engineering project in history. And what will this look like when finished? We cannot say for sure, but one thing is for certain. The next few years and decades will be unlike anything humanity has seen before.